5-minute presentation, and then we can move on. Okay. Mr. Wilson, if you would please set, Ms. Weinstein, set the clock for 5 minutes, please. You need your name and address for the record, and, before you go there, for the record, Mr. Patterson had to leave for a short period of time. He will be back in, that's just for the record. Mr. Wilson, your name, address, and you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Davis and council members for allowing me to speak. My name is Palmer Wilson. I live at 101 Donlin Drive in New Smyrna Beach. 2 weeks ago, you removed me from the board of the SVAA on a 4-3 vote. In doing so, I believe you acted without benefit of hearing my side of the story and apparently chose to rely on a single email and a news journal story that was, to say the least, less than balanced and apparently agenda-oriented. In my last board meeting I was conducting the morning of August 8th, I brought the issues up for discussion by the board members, and not a single one of them that was quoted in the news journal chose to enter into discussion or to voice their complaints. One board member was concerned about progressing further in the future how we would handle similar operations, and we discussed that, and the county attorney is working with them to do that. But as to my actions or involvement, it did not come up, and I did not get into that because it would have been a who said, she said. I want to let you know that I was originally appointed to the board by the former chairman, Frank Bruno, and reappointed by current chairman, Davis. And I can tell you from my time on this board that I know of no instance where any of these boards have been feuding with each other or squabbling with each other as reported by the news channel last weekend. In fact, the temporary or interim director that we were using in the absence of our former director, we borrowed from the West Volusia Council, and it was not a problem in executing that. Additionally, I want to point out to you that the effectiveness, while I have been there, has been exceptional. And I tell you that because in June of this year, we hit a record bed tax collection that has not been matched since 2004. Our bed tax collections have been increasing every month this year, far ahead by percentage than any of the other two boards. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. I'm a retired detective lieutenant from a major law enforcement agency in the Western metropolitan area. When I left, I was in charge of inspectional services and was the agency's IG with responsibility for a unit composed of over 1,400 people and a $105 million budget. That county that I work for currently has a $4.8 billion budget, so I understand management and how to handle funds. I was certified by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a forensic auditor and as an auditor. And I applied those skills while at the SVAA to respond to the quarterly audits that were imposed upon the SVA by the council, and have achieved such a compliance that the last audit there was only one minor notation of no major consequence. Additionally, I set up an audit program that is computer-based and responds to every audit for the benefit of the auditors, which receive rare reviews from them. I try to refocus the advertising towards the media and using multimedia operations. I set up a special section on the SVA server for board members to get information, but that was frustrated by the contractor's inability to provide passwords. Thirdly, I revised the grant application process to immediately start collecting data that could be quantitatively, not qualitatively, reviewed for success of the monies that were spent. I've been constantly urging them to look at quantitative measures. Finally, I created a suspense action database in which has been set up and was available for their use that allows them to monitor how they're progressing with every action that's being done. These are all management principles that I learned through my career. After the department, I served 5 years in the criminal division of the Justice Department internationally, operating by myself with UN embassy people around the world dealing with major crises. After that, I've been involved with the International Association of Chiefs of Police as a senior associate consultant handling audits of major federal, state, and local operating entities in the law enforcement realm. So I bring a background of how to manage and how to handle governmental units. As to this issue that was of concern to you, let me state unequivocally, I did nothing wrong. I did not orchestrate. I did not participate in shenanigans. I didn't do anything other than I think you would expect me to do when I was approached by somebody who asked, how can I talk to the executive director to get an opportunity to present a proposal, and I called to find out when she would be there. End of involvement in setting up the meeting, period. As to all the other accusations, I did not tell anybody to issue a contract. I did not tell anybody to write a contract. But you have to understand, when we were there, Ms. Talavas was in and out of that place. Her days started varying. She wasn't around, and I was in there every day ensuring that $100,000 project, Beach Weeks, came off without exception. And I did my best to do that, and many times that forced me to answer questions from the staff. County attorney was present in many deliberations I had. He can verify that I tried to retain my separation by constantly telling Ms. Talavas it was her call, not mine, by giving my opinion to it. At some point did I say do something? Yes, I did. I said, look, we've talked about this so many times now. Just do something with this thing. You have a lot of choices. And remember, she didn't work for her. Finally, I'm a retired lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, and never in my career as a law enforcement officer or in that career as a military officer has my integrity and veracity been challenged as it was last Tuesday or 2 weeks ago when this action was taken.